I think we should. It's 20 years since the first regular Simpsons episodes aired on American television. Since then, it's become one of the best-known shows on the small screen. Ricky Gervais got to write an episode, didn't he? And he says that was a bit of an honour.
I did 12 episodes of The Office and Extras and had to have a lie down. But they're on 400 and something. I mean, incredible. I mean, it's like an art factory. They churn it out, but it's brilliant, you know. And people say, oh, that one's not as good as that one. But, you know, every Simpsons episode is probably the best thing on telly that week.
Joining me this afternoon, Katie Steed, creative director of Slurpy Studios. Afternoon, Katie.
Hi, Danny. How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. Is the boy Gervais correct there that if it's a week when The Simpsons is on the telly, which, let's face it, is every week,
Pretty much.
it's the best thing on the telly?
Yeah, I think it has to be admitted. You know, I think there's a couple of other good animated series like Family Guy, but they all owe everything to South Park. So, yeah, I think they're great.
Very good. Okay, tell us a little bit about you. Where did you learn to animate?
In Farnham at the University for the Creative Arts down there.
And what sort of stuff are you animating at Slurpy Studios?
We do all 2D animation. So again, you know, we really respect the Simpsons for what they've done for 2D animation. Because they kind of, when everyone else was going to 3D and jumping on that bandwagon, they've stuck very much to their roots of keeping everything 2D, flat-looking.
So that's just, what, a background with characters on top?
Yeah, sort of sell, you know, that sort of original Disney kind of stuff. 3D animation, more like Pixar, Avatar, obviously.
Okay, I'm with you,
looks more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Simpsons have stuck to their cartoony roots, and that's really the kind of animation that we love to do.
The reason they're all yellow and it's so colourful, am I right in thinking that Matt Groening wanted it to look completely different from everything else on the telly? So as you were flicking through, you knew instantly when you hit a channel with The Simpsons on?
Yeah, he's always done that. His original series was all pink and orange, you know, but he just sort of said with The Simpsons he wanted it. You know, if you flick through the channels, you'd instantly know what the series it was, and he's right. You know, a lot of the other shows kind of run together. They look a bit generic. The Simpsons, you know, instantly. Because
it used to be a kind of little featurette in the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah, that's right. They had 6 series or so.
Before its kind of run of 400 plus episodes, as you know, and of course the thing that drives it is, and this is what American TV does so well, and I still think we have some distance to go to catch up on them in a lot of TV series, not just animated ones, is the characters, the strength and depth, and the character definition.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the writers do a wonderful job of really defining the characters. They're such whole personalities, you know, and the fact that it's animation is really irrelevant to the way that they try and sort of give their characters fully faceted personalities that everyone can relate to.
Even if their personalities, like Homer's, is terribly flawed, you know, at the end of the day, whatever he does, however stupid he is, the kind of ridiculous flights of fancy he goes on, at the end of the day, he's working hard for Marge and the kids, isn't he?
He is. I mean, he is a flawed character, but he's a great dad. He loves his family. And like I say, I think everyone can relate to him in some way, or knows someone, you know, that's slightly buffoonish, but has his heart in the right place. Just a bit.
And also, he's genuinely funny. I have to tell you that the funniest video game I've ever played was the Simpsons Hit and Run game.
I remember that one, yeah.
You score points for knocking over items of roadside furniture, crashing into other cars, running down people. It's just hilarious. Yeah. And the kind of the voice characterizations in that, they say laugh out loud funny stuff. I love that game.
Yeah, and if you look at something like Grand Theft Auto, you know, I mean, it's that, you know, they're fairly similar games, but what The Simpsons has done is they haven't worried about amazing graphics and, you know, everything looking like you're really in that world.
Like,
you know,
Bart drives over something and goes, "Oh, my ovaries hurt." I mean, how funny is that?
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Of course, my other favourite bit about The Simpsons is the voice characterizations. Yeah. You know, Dan Castellaneta, who does Homer and Grandpa Simpson and various others as well.
Yeah, about 6, I think he does.
Yeah, genius, aren't they?
It's pretty impressive. Yeah.
How did the animation style change? I mean, from a kind of a perspective of you as a drawer yourself, because you can tell the very early episodes, can't you, from the rest?
Yeah, well, the thing is, Matt Groening, he's not really an artist. I mean, he's not an animator. So he sort of, you know, sketched these things, and he actually did it about half an hour before his big interview. You know, he had this interview with James L. Brooks when he was supposed to be pitching an idea for an animated series, and he didn't have an idea. So he sort of, while he was in the rating room, he drew these characters, which are based on his own family. his dad's called Homer, his mum's called Marge, and his sister's called Lisa. So he came up with his ideas very quickly and scribbled them, and then gave the drawings to the animators and was kind of expecting them to refine it, and they didn't. They just sort of traced his drawings. So it took a couple of series to kind of get them more sort of,
They were softer
looking.
and more rounded, weren't they?
Yeah.
And also, I think the way Dan delivers Homer's voice, for instance, I note a marked difference in between the first couple of series and where he's got to now, where he's got it down to just.
Yeah, you'd think it was a different actor, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
he just sort of moved it further back in his throat, he says, and kind of delivers it from a sort of different place. I don't really understand voice actors and how they do the different things, but
it's a whole skill in itself.
Yeah.
Katie, take Simpsons out of the equation. Which are your other favourite animations? I've got one of mine, and I'll see if you match mine. What are your favourite?
Well, if you're talking about TV shows, I'd have to say Family Guy.
How about other sort of more traditional cartoons or big screen stuff?
Well, I'm a huge Disney fan. I always have been. And, I also love Pixar's sort of output, but the sort of classic Disneys are really where my heart lies.
Do you know what my favourite is?
Go ahead.
You didn't say this. I'm glad you didn't say this, because I've got this in my own one now. It's Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry's awesome. Do you know they're remaking it in 3D at the moment?
I'm not interested.
So worried about that.
I don't want to see that. I don't want
No.
to see. I liked Tom and Jerry as a kid, and when my kids were small, I spent hours watching Tom and Jerry all over again in a totally new light with them.
It's great that you can do that. It's like The Simpsons. It's multi-generational. Everyone gets something out of it.
They're brilliant. I mean, and I guess, I don't know, the animation appears to be reasonably simple, straightforward on Tom and Jerry.
It's fast-moving, so it's 24 frames a second. It's very hectic and hard for the animators to keep up, I would think. But it's not.
It's the way the stories develop and the kind of the extreme violence that goes on, which I love.
Which, of course, has been satirised by the Itchy and Scratchy show on The Simpsons.
Exactly. Tom and Jerry is well worth rediscovering,
Yeah, definitely.
I enjoyed it as much second time around watching it with the kids for other reasons that I did first time around. So what are you working on at the moment? I'm just interested in what's going on at Slurpy Studios right now, Katie.
Oh, well, we're doing a couple of bits for Sky at the moment, doing some football sort of related bits and bobs for them. And a couple of websites as well, we do.
Can you tell us more about the Sky stuff? What are you animating for them?
Well, I probably can't tell you too much, but we're doing a couple of title sequences involving people kicking footballs around, and it's going to look all sort of glowing and lights, and it's good fun to do.
And they pay you for this?
Yeah.
It's not just for fun?
No, it's great life.
That is amazing. Of course, you have that skill that I never had at school. Art and me just didn't go well together.
Well, I actually don't believe that. I didn't take art as GCSE because I didn't think I was any good at it, and then I took PE instead. I broke my leg, so I had to switch, and I discovered a love of art, which then helped me become better at it. I think it's more of you either love it or you don't. I think everyone can do it. I really believe that.
No, I can't. No, Katie, believe me, you're wrong. I cannot draw. I've got one final thought about the Simpsons.
Go ahead.
Did you see the movie?
Yes, I love the movie.
It was on the TV at the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I switched over literally at the point where Homer dares Bart to skateboard naked down to Krusty Burger.
Yeah.
And he does it. And there's this very clever sequence where, Bart's modesty is protected. And then about a second where you see Bart's winky. And I wonder how much discussion there was with the team to decide whether that was to be put in or not, because that's an enormous decision for them, isn't it?
It is, and it's trying to appeal to all audiences, and there's a lot of censorship that goes into these things. But that movie was about 12 years in the making, so I expect there was a lot of discussion.
I thought it was a piece of complete genius. and again, what really hallmarks The Simpsons is they dare to do that stuff. They put politics in there. They slag off the network that they appear on.
Exactly.
It's magic. Will it carry on for another 20 years?
I would hope so. I think 20, might be stretching it slightly, but I would certainly think they'd make it to 250 episodes. I mean 500 episodes.
A fascinating...
25 years.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a nice round number all round, doesn't it?
I think they'll definitely make it to that.
Good to talk to you, Katie. Thank you for your time.
Jenny. Bye.
Take care. There's Katie Steed, Slurpy Studios, great name for studios too. And it's Eric Clapton now. This is Knocking on Heaven's Door on BBC Sussex and BBC Surrey.